literally they would say, make it like WoW. And then sometimes it would be so direct, they would say, make it like WoW or I'll find someone that will.
Play to earn blockchain games.
Okay, and they are louder.
It is dumb. And I will tell you why. If it's a fun game, everyone's going to play it. Therefore, you're not earning as much. If you are earning a lot off a game, it's not going to be very fun, and it's now just work. It's a job where you're either not paid much or you're paid a lot and you hate it.
So it's about rarity. If everyone's playing it, then the resources generated are going to be abundant and not necessarily have much value. But if no one's playing it, then the resources you generate will be rare, but also there'll be no one to buy them off you.
YouTube is a perfect example, right? Let's say, so I'm a scam tuber, right? I create content about scams. Let's say it makes lots of money. It's fun. And because it's fun, more people are going to jump in and do it. Well, the ad revenue is now being split between the 25,000 of us that are now doing it. It's fun, but I'm not making any money off it. So I'm going to have to go and make content in an area that is boring about like...
right, unless you manage to be the one that is, right, the popular one that gets all the views. Right? Because the ad revenue share is based on who's getting the views. It's not like it's just split between everyone who enters the pool of making that content. Yeah, I guess the more competition there is, though, in the area, makes it harder.
There's an article on Massively OP that says, Bless Unleashed on PC. Remember Bless Unleashed, that next big, the WoW killer, is becoming a blockchain play-to-earn MMO RPG. So Bless Unleashed wasn't really doing that well.
No, it got sold already. It basically like died and got sold off already to some company like to put it on life support, and it kind of makes sense to why that they're just like, F it, let's just do this with it.
And now it's going to be added onto the blockchain. The blockchain. It's going to become a play-to-earn MMORPG. Who's still playing Bless Unleashed? Anyone in the chat still?
Probably
grinding away?
No one.
I'm guessing not. Cal, how's the maths gone?
I've got it. So, the minimum wage in Venezuela, which is what pretty much everyone is on, is 12 million. I don't even know what their currency is. Venezuelan rubles or something. God knows.
12 million. Okay, let's
12 million.
That's a lot of inflation. That's 12 and 6 zeros. Right.
Yeah. So
Bolivar,
that's their monthly.
Bolivar.
Yeah.
We're laughing, but like, you know, our government's trying to do the same thing here. It's just, you know, it's a process, takes a while. But, you know, you just track the value over time. Like, you know, we're not heading up.
That's their monthly minimum wage, which pretty much everyone is on.
Okay.
Now, that is 22 British pounds.
A month.
A month. Now,
that's about 30 American dollars, isn't it?
Yeah. Let's say I jump on and buy 2 bonds. I think bonds are still like $9.99 each. Might be, okay, 4 bonds because they're about £5, I think.
Yeah, they're about £5.
I can buy 4 bonds every month, no problem. Doesn't affect my financial situation.
Yeah.
But the people who are, let me get this right, the people who are selling the gold for other people to buy that bond, that's their monthly wage. Yeah. So they need to make...
That's so crazy.
18 mil gold in RuneScape a month for a full-time job. And that is a full-time job.
Yeah, and you can make 18 million a month in RuneScape if you have high stats.
You do it in a day.
In a day.
So they're becoming literal millionaires in Venezuela. They're getting paid.
That's so fucking crazy. It's the part that's crazy is that a video game currency is worth like significantly more and is more stable than their country's like real currency. That's the crazy part, not the like, right, people making their living doing this. It's been going on forever, right? But knowing that like, and the difference, right? The extreme it was in the millions, right? So what's like the value conversion there, right? That's insane. Their currency is so bad.
In fact, Vorkath's a brilliant example. Vorkath's gold per hour is about 4 million gold per hour. That's about £3 once they've sold the gold off, right?
Yeah.
£3 compared to the £22 a month they get paid, they can make their monthly pay in about 8 hours.
In a day.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And this
crazy.
is one of the reasons why you can't legalize real world trading.
Damn. So, like, as gamers, does this mean we want our economy to finish collapsing? And then we could all be rich selling gold in video games?
Because the moment you do, it becomes a viable income source for so many people in so many countries that the government of that country would have to step in and start to legalize it and work it all out. Because how do you declare the taxes on that?
Yeah, and I mean, this is why Axie Infinity got so popular.
In the chat is saying, why not legalize it if everyone's doing it? Because as soon as you legalize it, you then have to take on a massive amount of extra corporate responsibility to do it. As soon as you say, right, all of this has actual value, you can trade it around.
It becomes a security, doesn't it?
It becomes a security, and if it has
liability,
value,
probably.
And kids are buying treasure hunter keys or random chance keys and then pulling stuff from a treasure hunter box that has value,
that's
gambling.
gambling.
Is that gambling?
Yeah.
It absolutely is at that point.
It's one of the main reasons that Magic the Gathering are not, Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro are not able in any way to actually acknowledge the second-hand market. Because the moment Magic the Gathering or Hasbro, Wizards of the Coast, acknowledge that different Magic cards have different monetary values, then opening a pack becomes gambling, not purchasing collectible cards. Which is why Jagex absolutely cannot actually acknowledge the value, the monetary value, of any single given item.
There's another reason they wouldn't want to. Think about it like this.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? Like if they just play stupid, people are all mad, trying to get them to address some shit, all right? And they're just sitting there like,
people have said, wouldn't that kill NFT games? Axie Infinity, you brought that up. Axie Infinity was the kind of NFT style game where you
isn't that dead already?
Own Axies, and then you could rent them out to people who would play the game and earn value, and then you, as like a landlord, would almost take some of the value, wouldn't he?
It's basically contracting work.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Again, that's the play to earn game. And didn't they lose a load of money recently? Didn't they lose like 100?
Lost all their money.
I was gonna say, I thought they were.
Right, that's a couple of $100 million, wasn't it?
$600 million.
Oh yeah, I wasn't remembering incorrectly.
Got emptied because of a vulnerability in the blockchain where, so you know, it's kind of like a council thing where everyone has to agree on a transaction, or a majority does.
Yes.
They only needed 5 out of.
Is it? You think Axie is the one where they stole 630 million? Let's see. Well, let's see something here real quick. You know who would obviously have a video on it? Is there? Did he have a recent video on this one? I feel like I saw that much money in like one of these titles recently. Maybe not. Is it just spelled like that? Yep, there it is. 3 weeks ago. I didn't watch this one yet. Let me put that on my. I might check that out later.
7 votes.
Yeah, I know, right? I was like, that's crazy. I was like, Kira did, I think. Yeah, I was already on it. You know, I was like, well, you know who has a video on it? If someone does, good old Kira TV. That's been his thing recently. Yeah, he covers a lot of that stuff also.
When is this financialization, this monetization of hobbies gonna stop?
Never.
When people try to monetize their hobby and realize how shit that is. It's that simple, because it stops being a hobby and becomes a job. It really does. Like YouTube again.
But this is talking on an individual basis, right? This is when each person would like realize it and stop, right? But if you talk about like the trend, it's not gonna stop, right? It's just like, well, this person figured it out, but now this person's working on it. He won't figure it out for a while, and you know, it's just like more and more people. Yeah, that's the whole premise of this entire video, is the play to earn is stupid. Wait, no, it was the thumbnail was it's dumb, okay? Not stupid.
Perfect example. If you upload videos for fun, now I was never really in that camp because it took off so quickly, but you'll probably be able to vouch for this. You upload videos whenever you want on whatever you want, and it's fun.
That kind of happened to me also. right? Where like because the Lost Ark was high in the beginning, the channel grew like way faster than is normal and got monetized, and then like it was even like, you know, for the first month the amount of money it was gonna make wasn't crazy, but it was like over $500, which is pretty, you know, nuts when you just started. Now it's gone the other way, and I get to kind of experience it now, but it's difficult because it's already monetized, so you can't stop yourself from looking at numbers like that and seeing the number, you know, going down and getting smaller, or if you're finally doing better again and it's starting to grow a little bit, and you don't really do the like just for fun part as much. Although like content wise, I'm trying to do more of the content is like the content I want to make again, instead of just things I feel like I'm supposed to make. But you still, yeah, don't have that same just pure, like, I'm just doing this for fun. It's great.
And then when money starts coming in, you realize, okay, this is what makes money doing this. I'm going to have to follow that as long as I still find it somewhat enjoyable.
I am terrible at following analytics. So
I usually don't even check them. Especially once they started doing bad. Part of this is because I have done lots of research and listened to other bigger creators and stuff. And that's one of the things that, you know, they suggest if you're going through that kind of a time, right? Because it's really rough on your like your mental health if you let yourself get wrapped up into them, right? So what I started doing eventually, because they were going down, right? Because hype was crazy high and I grew faster than is normal and I should have. And then it started to come down, and I'm having to deal with that way earlier than a creator is supposed to really have to go through that also. I stopped looking at most of the numbers at all. And on my dashboard, I just stay on the comments section. And I refresh the comments page, and I try to respond to all the comments that are, you know, where there's something to respond to. Sometimes people say stuff where like it's honestly difficult to think of, like, everyone's had a conversation with something, you got a text and you're like, I don't really know how to like respond, because there's not like there's not something left really open for you to give something back to, other than, so sometimes it's just like, thanks for the comment, whatever. But I just try to stay on that comments tab and not get sucked into the other side of stuff, because I know then, right, I'll just, if I do that, then every time I'll be like, oh, Lost Ark videos get the most views right now because duh, most people follow the channel initially for Lost Ark, and I'll just keep doing only that, even though it's not what I want to do.
I've made a lot of videos on a lot of MMOs, a lot of blockchain, a lot of cryptocurrency, a lot of old games and stuff. And when I make a video, people have sat me down and they've said, Josh, you need to read your analytics. You need to look at Google Trends. You need to read your audience. You need to look at which thumbnails are working. You need to change your titles to improve stuff. And I know that I need to do all these things, and I don't do any of them.
No.
Like, I make a video about a game that I'm interested in. I make one thumbnail, one title, put it up, premiere it, then forget about it, and then go make another one. I am really bad at that kind of stuff.
I have to say, I'm in the same boat with that. I make videos on what I want to. I don't stress too much about the thumbnails, and a lot of people will change the thumbnails over the next couple of days and see if any one picks up more traction than the other. I don't. As long as
I've done it a few times. If I looked at one and if I think it's legitimately bad, but that's also because like I'm newer still too, right? So I'm still like figuring out how to make them look better, and sometimes they're objectively like not good. After you shrink them down and see them smaller size, it's like, oh, it's too busy. You can't really make anything out because the background is too busy and the text on top of it can't be read clear, or yada yada. Little shit like that, I'll fix it. Basically, if I end up shrinking it down to thumbnail size and then I'm like, oh, I literally can't tell what this video is about now. Well, I thought it looked good in the big size. Then usually I'll go back and make another one. It is really obnoxious how like a title and a thumbnail is, it's literally more important than the content in the video. More. Not as, but more important. That's such an awful thing, but it is. Because no one watches the video if they don't click.
Video does well enough, I'm happy.
Yeah. I know that I'm leaving a lot of potential on the table. I know that I am, because when we were at Insomnia, the amount of companies that came over to me and said, hey, could we sponsor you? You know, we'll put our logo on the thing and we'll give you a lot of money for it. And I said, okay, what do you do? And they're like, oh, we do this. And I said, I don't use those. I'm sorry, but I can't take a sponsorship from a company that I don't necessarily use myself. I would feel wrong doing it. So I know that I suck.
Yeah, I pretty much feel like this also, it's going to be a weird thing for trying to make money as a content creator. But it's really weird. I just hope like eventually I can get the YouTube to get enough views to where the ad revenue share will just do it. Cause I don't want to And trust me, like even being small, even when the channel stops doing as good, you still get you still get sponsor offers. They're just usually not from something you feel like you'd feel good accepting, right? It's like, oh no, I'm not trying to, like, I've had one of the big ones that hit me up is the Lost Art Gold Selling Company, right? They used to harass the shit out of me until I blocked them on email and Discord on like all the accounts I could think of. I was watching Cure the other day, and he was saying about, he goes back and changes thumbnails and titles. Oh, I can tell. He had a video that I just wasn't interested in the topic of it at all. And I saw it pop into my recommended at least like 8 times with a different title or title and thumbnail change, like every time it popped up. He was real serious about it. And I'm just like, I just don't care about this particular video. It's no biggie. There's no title or thumbnail change that will make me care about the video. Raid Shadow Legends.
When it comes to optimization,
I don't know. Raid Shadow Legends is like a meme at this point, dude. I almost feel like that one, everyone is fine with like a YouTube gaming channel taking that one. It's almost like a rite of passage when you finally get that first ad. But no, I was talking about like straight up like gold sellers and stuff. Like the, you know, literally the actual gold selling company that you see spamming in Lost Ark all the time. They used to bother me a lot. And then there's been several others, but that was like the most egregious one that like they kept, and they would up the offer to try to like get me to accept it. I was like, huh? I just keep ignoring them all.
Have you ever felt guilty for playing a game in your free time and not making content out of it?
Oh my God. Do you know what I was thinking about?
Basically, every time I play EverQuest. But that's one of the reasons I play that one off stream, though, is because I know that it's not popular content that probably like anyone would really fucking watch anyway. You know, you can look up like EverQuest videos online from people that are like pretty talented, a lot more talented than me, and most of them like they don't get very many views. There's some like evergreen ones on like kind of like, you know, really nostalgic good dives by people, and like the videos are several years old, and so by now they've gotten like a decent amount of views. But for the most part, it's kind of like a safe off stream and not make content on a game, because I know no one gives a shit except for me.
This yesterday. Whenever I play a game, I'm like, oh, this would be good YouTube content. And then I have to keep saying, no, Callum, this is fun you time. This is...
Yo, that was like me last night when I was finished up with my stuff. And I was like cooking dinner, and I was struggling to find anything like that I wanted to watch. And right, I don't have any like streaming services, right? So it really is just kind of like, you know, hopefully YouTube suggests me something good, so I don't have to like spend time researching and finding something to go like download or some shit. And the Asmongold video popped up, and I clicked on it like right away. I was like, ooh, pay to win topic. I want to watch this. And then right away I was like, oh no, but I shouldn't, because if I watch this now, this would be good stream content and a good content to like make the react video edited down. And then all of like, I'll have seen it all, and it won't be like a real natural reaction. So that I didn't let myself watch it, and I saved it.
Is mess about and have fun, not work time.
For anyone on the chat right now, this is a really weird thing, and I know it's as first world problem as you can possibly go. You
right.
know, we're not complaining, we're just explaining the mental thought process to you. When I was sat downstairs playing Elden Ring, part of me thought, I really should be playing this on the PC.
By the way, if you haven't played Elden Ring yet, so good. So good. I made a video on that also. Really good. I know he has a little clip out there, you know, on the clip channel that was about Elden Ring also. And it was like the problem with Elden Ring. And it was basically that it's such a good single player open world game that it's ruining all of the other ones now. You know, and he's like, I think about going back and playing Skyrim now, and it's just like, you know, seems like it would probably suck now because I'll be comparing it to this.
I should be recording it. I should be taking notes. I should be writing. And then when I realized that, no, I'm enjoying this. I'm playing this. I'm having fun. It's really strange that...
That is, honestly, and with Elden Ring, it's a thing I kicked myself about with it, too. I have a decent bit of recorded footage for it. But I really, like... I didn't record a lot of the stuff that would have been, like, the best, right? when I was earlier in the game and everything was like more of a challenge. I'm gonna say, for Raid Shadow Legends, if I saw a streamer sponsored now, I would just be like, get paid, bro. As no way it's influencing me to play. Exactly. Yeah, no problem, man. Yeah, so like I did a similar thing with Elden Ring, and I've had the same kind of internal struggle where I'm like, I really should have, I literally should have been recording it from the start, because all of the most exciting moments that would have been good, like high views, were kind of in like the earlier bit when you're figuring things out still and learning before you get like a really powerful build put together and, you know, all this type of stuff. Even for me, the character creation, it would have been great because I played on PC. They default to controller controls. There is an option in the settings to change it to keyboard controls, but I'm literally sitting there like unable to figure it out because I didn't know about that option. Most people I talked to didn't know that that option was in there, and I'm just like trying to do it, but I'm literally having to like guess and hit every key to try to figure out like which key equals, you know, like X on a controller or whatever the F. And I had like some pretty good moments of like, you know, just like kind of angry at the game for being such dog shit. And then as soon as I got in the game, it was like very shortly, I was loving the game, especially once I figured out the control thing.
When you bring in the financialization of anything, when you aren't making money off it.
Yeah, so it would have been funny content. And that's what they're talking about here, though, is like it's hard to just do a thing for fun. And me being a smaller creator where I haven't made it yet, like I'm not paying my bills off of my thing, you know, like the goal is to make, right, at least just enough to live comfortably, then it's even harder to put that out of your mind, right? Anything where it would have been good, moments that I think were like, oh, like that would have been hilarious and probably would have got a shitload of views. Like then you end up like beating yourself up, like actually like angry at yourself that you didn't have OBS record going.
Doing it feels like you're missing out. Feels like a waste. And I'm super scared that this financialization of games, this monetization of play, is going to start seeping into the way that, you know, kids and young people see games. And it will get to a point now where, because young people are super easy to, you know, influence in any possible way. They pay attention to adverts all the time. You tell a kid now that not only can they play a game, they can earn money while playing the game. Ooh. 10 years from now, are they going to play a game where they don't earn money?
The more I think about that, actually, my opinion on that may change.
It'd be interesting to see.
We already have that now. We just don't realize it. Let's take RuneScape again.
Let's see where he goes. But as soon as he said that, I immediately thought streaming, YouTube, and like every kid wanting to be a YouTuber or a streamer, you know?
And as another example, gold sellers, right?
Whereas like for me, I kind of didn't want to do. I thought I didn't, or maybe I was making excuses. Or whatever, but I didn't look into it right away. It wasn't like as soon as it was like a thing, I was like, oh, for sure I would do that. I think I would be good at that. It was kind of just I hit this point where I've been living alone. I don't have anyone to talk about games with and stuff. And also I saw like, you know, some videos from like Ludwig, you know, on the starting the channel, like not just being luck based. And I just decided to kind of like make it for fun, see if I could get something going, find some other people to talk about games with and shit, and just kind of like went from there. I wasn't going into it looking at it like that already.
A portion of the players that are playing it to play it, to have fun. And there is a portion of players that are playing it purely to make money. They don't find any enjoyment in the game. But they are feeding in to the players that want to play it for enjoyment and don't mind dropping a few dollars every day or month.
I literally, as we're saying this, I'm just thinking streamers that keep playing the same game that they don't actually like because it's the one their audience follows them for and it's the one that pays their bills, and they're scared to go play a different game, but they don't actually really like the game, so they're just playing the game purely for money basically at that point. You know, like we all know the streamers have been there, and Asmon even talks about this, right? And like the being scared to branch out and try other games in the beginning, right? And then he finally did, and it turned out it was good for his channel, right? You know, he's big enough that like, yeah, some WoW people leave, cool, but it's like you have all these other FF14 people that come in, right? And then all the New World people come in, right? And all the Lost Ark people and really like it ends up helping them grow, but the initial mindset is being scared, right? And locked in and playing the game even when you're past the point of having fun with the game and you know you'd probably rather be doing something else.
So I guess we already
Yeah,
have that.
yeah, exactly, Curry, exactly. But it's not just them, right? It's not just them. It's a lot. Like I saw a video. This dude was like a PoE streamer that had kept going for a long time, and he was finally quitting and just gonna go get a regular job. Was what the video was about finally. But he talked about doing it for like a really long time and not really enjoying the game anymore, and also being annoyed that because he was like a hardcore PoE guy, he was constantly just bombarded with people just wanting like builds and shit from him, right? No real care about him. It's just like, just give me the builds, give me the info all the time. Even when he's off stream, just harassed, give me the build, give me the build. But he kept doing it for a while, because it was paying the bills, right? Not because he was liking the game at all. So with streaming and YouTube, it's like you can already do this to yourself.
I think they're just going about advertising it wrong, because they are only advertising it to the players that want to earn, that want to work, but without the players that want to play it for fun and spend money. Because it has to be a cycle, right? This money doesn't come from nowhere.
Right.
You've got to have people buying.
There's got to be just the random people in there that buy. Exactly. Right? Which is like in most games, if you take it out of this idea of pay like or play to earn for real money, even in any regular game, right? It's like there are people that do all the hardcore grinding, harvesting, and gathering all of the resource materials, right? And then they sell that shit on the market, and other people that are lazy and just want to be able to grab the materials and make the item real quick, right? They buy it from them or whatever, right? Even talking actual rare items, right? Like, again, back in the days of EverQuest, there were like most items weren't no trade, right? And the economy was like a very free open trade thing. So you could potentially like camp, some rare spawn for like, some crazy ass item and not be for your class, and you just sell that shit.
That wants to play this new game for fun, and I'm a player that wants to play it for money. We both have to exist for each of us to benefit from it, right? That's what it's going to be, but they're advertising it solely to the people that will make money, but they can't make money unless somebody's spending it.
I played Madden for a while, and there is the MUT streamers and YouTube channels, and they honestly seem like they love football, but really hate Madden. But it is easy content for them, and they have an audience. Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. Well, I don't know. That could just be... You never know. Some people just... It's weird. Like, that's the way some people play video games, though, too, right? It's like they care so much they get mad in any kind of competitive game. So it's like you can't tell. It's like this dude doesn't really look like he's having fun at all.
Minecraft content creation, making stuff in the game, seems to follow a very similar predatory style as the gaming industry in general. It's full of passionate people, and their passion is taken advantage of.
Yes. There was a big scandal around this with Roblox. You've probably seen the video where they were actually asked to take the video down because they'd exposed this whole ring of just milking developers for money that was going to random people that just don't work. They just lounge around the house and direct people. And then when they've got one big mod under their belt, they can just get another and another, and they don't do anything. They just underpay.
Roblox is kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like a weird Minecraft type game. It's like a Minecraft type game, and you can make your own, like your own mods and all this stuff. But I think they have more like systems in place with it for trying to allow people to actually like sell those mods and make money on the mods. And then Roblox also steals a cut of the mod and stuff, right?
Actual developers.
And it's from kids. It's like this weird skim off the top from fucking children's thing is what it is.
I think there was an artist. Now, Roblox art isn't the best, but you still have to put the effort in and know the art skills, right? Yeah. There was an artist that was being paid something like 22 pence an hour to, like, a 13-year-old kid being paid 22 pence an hour to work full time.
It's disgusting, isn't it? I mean,
it is.
It's the same as, we'll pay you an exposure. Oh, you want to work for us because then you'll be seen as big in the industry. You'll be seen as important and stuff like that. Gaming is a passion-driven industry, and unfortunately, a lot of kids want to get into the gaming industry, and so they will let the industry take advantage of them, and they will do what they are told that is good. I fear that we're going to get to a point now, or we're starting to push toward a point where the passion of gaming, of YouTubing, of Twitch streaming becomes so efficiency based. You know, when you play an MMORPG and you enjoy it because you don't know much about it, and you just make bad decisions and you play how you want, and then you learn the meta and you learn the best rotation, the best items, the best this, the best that.
Yeah, and then it's not fun anymore.
We're starting to get to the meta of our lives based on financial benefits to it. Are we playing games to a boring, emotionally vapid meta because it brings in the most money?
Absolutely. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. I think you've hit it spot on there.
Are we min-maxing life?
Yeah.
Of course.
Oh, absolutely.
Well,
if you
don't want to min-max everything, right?
Then the thing you're doing has to be making money, right?
Well, I mean, unless you're me.
Like, that's kind of what we've got to now.
If you're me, all you want to do is like lift weights, hang out with your dog, and have some good conversations with people. It's preferably, right? If I could get my stream popularity, like, right, if I could get like the amount of views on there to just like sit there and just have conversations with people the whole time, like that'd be dope. Yeah, and then all I'd have to do is like, lift weights, hang out with my dog, and sit down and have conversations with people about stuff that I want to talk about anyway. Yeah, that'd be pretty dope.
Good game.
And like my life is set up purposely to try to like not have to go down this trap of chasing as much money as possible, right? I need to like make just enough, and that just enough for me is manipulated to be much lower than like what normal people need, right? Probably like at least half of what normal people like need to pay their bills and survive. So that I could, you know, I don't need it to become like the most popular thing, right? So, you know, find out like just enough of a niche, people that find my shit interesting, and make just enough for that shit. That's all I ever wanted to do. Just because like I can't do another working for an asshole. Just need to work for myself, even if I have to go back to splitting wood by hand for shit money. As long as I can do it and sell it for cash and not have a boss, like I'll be all right. Yeah, right. So, I mean, typically, like when it comes to money, I feel like the best approach, or the healthier one, right, is have just enough to not need to think about it. And when you're going hard after it beyond that, it's like, dude, like, whoa, bro, why? Chill out, dude. There's more to life. Is this, do you struggle just to say you can't go back to working for another asshole? Yeah, I know. Well, it's weird, right? You want to like word it in the right way, because some people, I want to word it in the right way and not come off like you're just lazy and don't want to work, right? It's like I've done a lot of hard shit. In fact, maybe I'll go on my other YouTube channel sometime and I'll pull some clips off and I'll throw one on the other channel after I remove the gaming part and start to get more of this, right? It's going to be a little bit more than just gaming. It's going to be my channel and me. But I've got some pretty impressive, like crazy, very hard physical things that I've done that are like small amounts of people could probably do. I like doing hard shit. Just I can't do it with some fucking asshole controlling my life anymore. Just can't. I'd rather be poor.
Red Sky in the chat has just put, the former JMod Matt K says, people are starting to look at the science of game making as opposed to the passion and the art.
Starting? They've been doing that for a long time, dude. And with everything, right? And they do it with food too. It's not just a gaming thing, right? You know, all the food that comes in the pretty packages and shit in the store. There's a lot of science that went into that food, particularly how to make it as addicting as possible. And you know what? They're gonna do, they are doing the same exact thing to games already. That's what every big corporation does, is how do I make this as addictive as possible? How do I get them to log in every fucking day?
I said this in one of our devlogs. Game development.
Oh, wait, you see the comment here? Where was it? Lameo, people sell Elden Ring equipment to lazy people. I should do this. I do need to make some extra money. Like not joking. I really need to make extra money. And I have basically like a mule save file. that is mine. It's not from someone else. It's from mine. Right? So I have all these files, and I have different ones saved at different points, but I have most items that you could get in the game. Because I've done every achievement, and I did the storyline like 3 times through, and I went to most places for any item that I could find that I wanted. I have this one here that I saved it at level 150 with like 7 million runes, all the bell bearings at my merchant for upgrading items and shit. But anyway, I have most of the things that people would want, and I could potentially... You're doing this right. You can drop them for people, and make people give you a little, give you $5 for whatever they want. You drop the item for them, and then you close the game out, and you just reload your save file so you don't lose the item. That's what people do.
Like, games are being built backwards, right? RuneScape, another good example. They made a game that was fun, passionate, between 3 brothers. They just wanted to make something that they wanted to play. And guess what? Other people wanted to play it because it was something that was fun.
That's kind of the story of EverQuest. It wasn't just 3 friends, but it is a very small studio, and the vision of like Brad McQuaid and people that didn't really like know if they could do it. They're a real small team. They talk about how they had to wear a lot of different hats, right? Because they weren't like modern games now with hundreds of people working on it, and like each team's working on one thing, which maybe that's one of the reasons why things don't feel like they flow together as well, right? And the game maybe doesn't always feel like it's put together as well, right? Whereas maybe a game where people had to work on multiple things, they were experienced with more of it, and they understood better how it all would fit together, and they were a much closer knit team, right? And it was also back in the day, they talk about, they were so passionate about their ideas, like fist fights would almost happen in the meetings over things, and all kinds of shit. And it's just it's honestly kind of beautiful to hear. I enjoy hearing about it enough that I watch. There's a dude on YouTube. It's called like A Loving Robot or some shit like that. And he's like he worked on WoW, but later, like after the peak of like the classic era, right? He was on after that in kind of the Luckland area. But he gets devs like to come on the podcast and just talk to them about like the old days and developing the game and the stories behind actually developing it. And it's so cool because it was literally a passion project of people who loved MUDs, which were the online multi-user dungeons that were all text-based. And they wanted to see if they could create a MUD with graphics, right? Like that was their goal. And they did it. And the whole thing is you can feel it. It was a passion project because they loved it. They played the game themselves. They were just wanted to make D&D with graphics.
The last thing they thought about was monetizing it. Like there were times where they were at an absolute loss because they were buying servers that they couldn't afford, but they wanted to keep the game running. And now look how successful.
This is a very similar story. This is very similar to like how EverQuest shit was back in the day. Yeah, like they had no idea how successful it was going to be. And the servers were so overloaded. And also like they didn't even have tools, right? Because they were like the first MMO in this style. They didn't even have the tools for like testing. Like they weren't developed and around yet. So it was crazy. They had to do like all the testing, just kind of like manual, no automated tools that run all the scripts and reload the zones 1,000 times and all this shit. They just had to like manually test it all a few times as much as they could. Then release it and be prepared. Patch day that shit was coming down all day for a fix to play it tomorrow.
I think when you have a committee or a board members team making something, it ends up feeling very corporate. Very corporate and very fake and very soulless. And you can see that, you can feel the difference. The last MMORPG that I can imagine was made...
Is this what happened to WoW? Over time? There's a lot of stories, right? About like... Well, I mean, not just stories, right? But over time, like a lot of the original devs have left. Right? And a similar thing kind of with EverQuest and everything else too. You know, like the way these games... And then EverQuest has lost its way too. I was talking about it earlier in the stream. The reason I play the project... This Project 1999 version of the game is because if I play the live version, it's got a cache shot full of like all the bullshit that all the other ones do too.
Committee was New World.
And yeah, That is a prime example of a game just going south from the get-go.
I think New World was a load of people, a load of actual, big tech industry people, a lot of big business who sat down and went, right, what is the best way we can possibly make an MMORPG? And they created that. To put it into the whole passion thing, have you seen John?
I know, it's weird because New World originally had a completely opposite design philosophy. And the kind of design philosophy that seemed like it was probably originally like inspired by people that cared and wanted some shit, right? Because like I don't think anyone makes like a PvP focused that kind of style game thinking about ultimate profit as the number one goal. Because no game that in that style has ever been the number one profit thing, right? It's like a complete experiment. I know, but then they went against it, right? Because somewhere along the way they were like, "Oh no, we do need to make this. Yeah, let's try to make it more like WoW. Okay, let's get it theme parked. Let's get it on rails. Lots of quests, all the questies."
John Wick, the film. You know who made John Wick?
No.
A bunch of stuntmen. A bunch of stuntmen basically said, we want to make a film that pays homage to the job of the stuntman.
That's dope.
And they nailed that.
They did. They said, right, let's get stuntmen in. We're going to get a stuntman scriptwriter. We're going to get a stuntman director. We're going to get all the stuntmen
I didn't know this. That's really cool.
We're going to find an actor who will actually learn how to do all of the stunts. And Keanu Reeves was straight there. John Wick is a film written by stuntmen, about the job of being a stuntman. And it's freaking brilliant.
It's awesome.
You can tell that was made out of pure love and passion and heart.
I did see the first one. That was good. I'll have to watch some of the other ones.
Smiling all the way through John Wick. I thought, this is brilliant. This is pure passion.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it.
Yeah. And you know what film that I didn't really care much about?
It's good too, because like right, I'm pretty sure that's the one where they kill his dog, right? I'm pretty sure that's the one. And so the whole time too, like if you're like me and your best friend for like over a decade has just been a dog, right? It's the kind of like fuck everybody up movie you really get behind, because you're like, oh my god, dude, this is like this is like an intense, like wet dream of fantasy of like what I wish I wish I was this badass if someone killed my fucking dog, right?
Any of the new Star Wars films.
I have to agree.
This comment, dog dies, Josh smiles. Did he smile as he said the dog? Oh, wait, he didn't even say it. I mentioned the dog dying.
Watched them and I was like, they're okay as a thing to watch. Wouldn't watch them again. In fact, I haven't watched them again.
I didn't feel any love.
Speaking of things that are ruined just for money and no passion, who's ready for the Lord of the Rings show? I don't have high hopes. I've heard it's been sexualized, and that literally like directly goes against like Tolkien's thing. And it's like, we can have one modern show that isn't hypersexualized, okay? I don't need to want to jerk off during every single thing I watch, okay? We can leave that for anime. And it's just like, you don't need to fucking do it in everything, even when it directly goes against what the original like essence of the stories. Like that shit is purposely left out.
Any passion? I felt that it was very science and not very art, which was a shame.
Yeah. In fact, I can tell you what the boardroom meeting.
Yeah, that's like, that's in top 3 reasons people watch anime, right?
Was that created that. Okay, we've got lots of IPs now. Which one's going to make a lot of money? Star Wars is really popular right now. Should we chuck out a Star Wars film?
Yeah.
They don't have to build a franchise. It's already there.
Yeah.
Let's just, like it's an exit strategy.
Oh, where are they going to go next? You guys, you can't forget rehashing. You can't forget rehashing all of our childhoods and just remaking right? All of the movies and video games from basically my childhood is what's popular right now.
Almost like, let's milk it while it's going.
Here's an example, and we will get onto the Twitter thing in a second because it's a big thing. But here's an example that I actually use whenever I'm teaching people about film or art or emotion in general. Have you seen the first Pirates of the Caribbean film?
I have, yes.
Have you seen the third Pirates of the Caribbean film?
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay, so third Pirates film, massive battle by a huge...
Was this the FF7 remake? Is SS tier though? Is it? I have not. I haven't played it because I heard that the PC port of it was like super trash, like absolutely trash, like really bad, like way worse than anything anyone said about the Elden Ring port.
Vortex in the sea. Ships all smashing around each other, special effects absolutely amazing, cannonballs flying, splinters of wood, and I didn't really feel anything. Visually beautiful, emotionally vapid.
Yeah.
First film. There's a
Oh,
fight
how's it going,
in the
Machiavellian?
blacksmith
Appreciate it, man.
shop between Will Turner and Jack Sparrow.
Yeah.
And there's not even that many actual blows exchanged with the swords. There's even a...
Yeah. So my other friend that played it and liked it also played it on console, and I heard good things about it there. But if you read the reviews for like the PC version of it, it's really bad, and it was kind of like all bad that I saw. It wasn't like I don't know, Elden Ring. People said there was some issues, but I never had any. I just turned people said the stutter happens sometimes in like around like tall grassy areas, so I just turned the grass down to like medium. I think I don't know. The only time I had a really bad stutter was during a cutscene one time, like at Rykard, which kind of sucked because the Rykard cutscene's like one of the fucking coolest ones. Yeah, it's super irritating. It's as a PC person, it's hard not to, right? You almost get a little salty at the console thing, and consoles being so popular, right? All my friends are consoles and shit. Like, why can't all you fuckers just have a PC, and then PC would get just PC? They'll make the PC port good, and then how about we port from PC to consoles, and you let them have the shitty version?
A bit where they step. And he goes...
Like round the pole.
Yeah, he says, if I step here, and the other one goes, I step here. And he goes, good, I see you know what you're doing. That was two characters interacting, and we got to know them, and we got to get involved with them. And that scene to me, that fight scene to me, is art.
Yeah.
Because it's not about...
One of the best fight scenes with the least amount of fighting in it. It was really good.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. In fact, if I watched a scene on YouTube yesterday, if you want to see what an absolutely brutal fight scene looks like, there's a film called, I think it's called Nobody. And there's a fight on a bus. I don't know if anyone in the chat here has...
I'm gonna write it down.
It rings a bell.
I'll look it up later.
Oh my god, that fight on a bus.
Oh wait, I saw it.
That is how you do a fight scene.
Dude, that is... Have you guys seen the movie he's talking about? It's actually like S tier fight scene for real. I'm a little bit worried to even play it on here because, like, I know Josh probably won't like strike my video or copy claim it, but whoever uploaded this, well, maybe not because it's just a trailer. You're allowed to play a trailer, right? Wait, but it's not. It's like a short clip from this bus. Yeah, this will for sure get this whole scene. I guarantee it'll get me copy. But if you haven't seen it, highly recommend. In fact, here. Boom. That's probably the full like fight clip there. It's almost 8 minutes, just this one fight scene. It's so good.
Insane. I had to rewind and watch that scene again. I'm like, that is incredible. Very simple, very basic, but just super brutal. And then you get massive...
One of the things that made it good was that he's effing up like multiple dudes, but they didn't do it like so many movies do, where it's so ridiculously unbelievable that as soon as the fighting starts, you just like, if you know anything or you care about any level of realism in the movie, right? Because it's not a superhero movie. You're like, right, with superpowers, you're just rolling your eyes immediately, like, oh god, it's so fake. It's not one of those fights. It's pretty brutal on both ends. It's what makes it great.
Films like, you know, The Avengers, that are beautiful, but I don't necessarily feel anything about them.
What about 300? Oh, I forgot about this. Some of the fight scenes are pretty good, but I feel like one of the things that makes that movie not like hold up through time is just kind of how over the top cheesy they just did like the basis of some of the dudes, right? Just a lot of that shit. Like, let's make them mostly freaking naked, and I'm like, we're literally like gonna body paint on like as much abs and unrealistic shadowing as possible stuff. It just makes the whole thing like a little bit. It's like a little bit cringe. But the fight scenes are great.
You seen Joker?
Right.
Yes.
They gave Joker
Seen them both.
less and less and less and less and less budget. They basically wanted to make the film fail. They didn't think that a Batman extended universe would work. So every time they asked for more money for the Joker film, they just said no. And they got less and less and less and less and less. And eventually they sat down, the directors and the actors, and they said, look, we don't have enough money to make this a spectacle. We don't have enough money to make this Joker film a traditional superhero film. So what we need to do is make it a character film. An emotion, character-driven film about your history and your feelings and small encounters like fighting 3 guys on a subway
and then it made it better.
Fighting 300 guys on a spaceship. And Joker is one of the best films I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because
graphics will only do so much. Yeah. That goes for both films and games.
And I think that's because Joker is a...
Yeah. From this thing over here, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's the guy from Better Call Saul or whatever, and from Breaking Bad.
Which MMORPG games now are putting art ahead of spectacle? Terra was a spectacle game, and it failed.
I don't know.
Aeon is a spectacle game. They're just big, flashy.
Maybe
bright,
Guild Wars 2,
brilliant.
but it's like I haven't played it in a long time to know about the more recent stuff. But I would say for sure, like in the early parts of that game, the original Guild Wars. Oh, that was so good. EverQuest 1, obviously, but that's not still, right? That was like the original, the first one, and the live version of the game. Like I was saying earlier, it doesn't follow suit. If you want to experience that, you have to play the Project 1999 emulator. And I really can't think of a modern one that's out right now, right? There's the potential for Ashes of Creation and the potential for Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. But again, like I said earlier, the Pantheon one, I really don't know, because I know the guy who, he was the EverQuest guy and then was doing Pantheon, and then he died. So they're like, right, they're literally like their visionary leader is dead, and the people that are left, like, no, they could completely not follow that vision.
MMOs put art first.
The original Guild Wars was so fun. It was so fun, and one of the things that made it so good was all like the build diversity and more intricate stuff there. And again, I kind of feel like there's more of it there than there is in a lot of MMOs, including more than there is in Guild Wars 2. Guild Wars 1 had more, more interesting build variation, diversity, and more than most games do.
New World.
A game had amazing class system for diversity and fun was Arcade, but it, turned into a trash pay-to-win game. But the class system was so cool. You literally mixed and matched 3 different classes, right, to smash them together and create your own combination between the classes. Right? So you had all these different classes, and then create so many different variations you could make because you had to combine 3 of them together, right? So mine was the Shadow Knight, and the Shadow Knight, I didn't even know that's what it was going to be called when I made it. It turned out it was what was it? It was the Shield, Defiler, and something else. Maybe it was like the ambush line or something like that. I forget.
I'd say that New World was more of a spectacle thingy because it was just, hey, let's make it as big as we possibly can. New World
played Ninja / Mesmer. Was it called Ninja? I think it was called isn't it called Assassin? Not Ninja? Pretty sure. But the Mesmer is like their super unique class. Pretty cool. The Engineer was my main. Another one of their more unique classes that you don't really see a class that's like super like it in many games.
Isn't emotionally connected to me.
I'm pretty sure it's Assassin.
No.
I think.
That's...
Wait, want to look? Oh, wait. From the original Guild Wars. I actually don't remember. Not Guild Wars 2, right? Yeah, Assassin. Ninja is like Black Desert Online has a ninja.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's like, it was beautiful, but it was so bland. The same goes for... Oh, what's it even called?
It's a good thing when you can't remember the name of it.
The space game, Star Citizen.
Okay.
Absolute spectacle graphically, right?
That's
Guild Wars 1 was art. There it is. There's the comment, baby.
Yeah, but what is there looks beautiful, but
Gordon B-Man.
Yeah.
At all.
So I think that the problem that a lot of MMORPGs are facing is they are being made by following the science and not necessarily following...
This was actually one of the other interesting things that got talked about when I was talking about a loving robot dude who was like an older, from the Luckland area EverQuest developer. And he does these podcasts talking to the other developers and stuff. So in the last podcast, and this was with, it was like 4 of them, like 4 different ones, like from the original EverQuest, all kind of talking. And they'd all worked on a bunch of other games too. And they were talking about the big thing being about like essentially MMO, what's the word? Like MMO creativity, like new, like really, what's the fucking word for, I don't know, like being really creative and innovative. It died with World of Warcraft. Not because World of Warcraft did anything bad, but because World of Warcraft became so successful and reached, like, for online subscription games, you got to understand, you're talking the numbers before, and they were crazy and unexpected. You're talking in the, like, 700,000, maybe hitting up to like maybe 1 million. And then all of a sudden you have millions and millions and millions and millions. It created this dynamic where like every fucking thing coming out was supposed to copy WoW. And these guys were talking about working on other games after EverQuest and having other ideas to try to, be creative and bring some of this stuff that's just more from a passion base and things they thought would actually make the games good and enjoyable. And the studios and stuff they're working for would tell them, like, literally they would say, make it like WoW. And then sometimes it would be so direct, they would say, make it like WoW or I'll find someone that will. So like innovation in the MMO space died because WoW was so successful that everything tried to copy WoW. Yeah, instead of Blizzard copying everyone else and making it better, suddenly everyone wanted to yes, exactly, Curry.
And not necessarily following the passion of a small team. Because when you look at the big...
Yeah, literally, that was it. You're literally talking about these were teams with people that were passionate and had ideas, and they had studios telling them, just make it like WoW. I don't care about your fucking cool idea, just copy WoW.
Big successful MMORPGs, they had a relatively small team of developers work on them. Not many people worked on RuneScape.
Also true. And they also literally talked about this exact thing in the podcast thing with the 4 developers that I was watching yesterday. And they talked about these teams now having like hundreds of people and some even thousands. And right away, the guys there, all of them unanimously said, F that. I want no part of that. Give me like a small team of like 7 to 10 people that fucking really care and are going to work together and put their heads together over that any day. And that's what they came from. Like EverQuest's like original team was like less than 7 people, if I remember correctly. Like very small teams of passionate people that cared is how you get good games that like just stand on their own 2 feet without all the games keep you logging in these days, not because the games have fun, right? It's like you got to log in to get your fucking reward, because you can't log in without a reward, right? You need a reward every day you log in, because just logging into play is not really fucking worth it. I don't like it. It was very refreshing when I played Elden Ring, and there was none of that. I was just like, oh, I'm literally just loving exploring this world. This is great. I don't have to log in. There's not a daily that I'm missing if I don't, because I had to do something else today. Crazy.
World of Warcraft had a team of like what, 30 people?
Oh, sorry, I missed Crees. What was this? Some games came out with unique features but bad story, and the other gameplay was meh, or the unique feature was so bad. Yeah, I mean, just in general, right? It's like you're trying to copy, but you're trying to copy like this team that's up here. They have the more funding and the budget and their thing, right? They've got it. It's smooth. It plays well. Like, bro, you're not gonna compete by copying. You've got to come up with, right? Because in order to copy and do as well, you need to be able to be as good, probably need to be able to be even better, right? Whereas like if you come up with your own thing that's good, then maybe it can stand on its own, right? But like copying, I don't think is going to work as well unless you're better than the thing you try to copy, or you have to minimum be just as good. And usually they always played clunk-like, right? They might look like it or have the similar features, but it's like they would play clunky, you know, in comparison, or literally you're just like, this looks so similar, feels, plays so similar. It's like the same game, but less people in it. And it's basically like the knockoff copy. Why would I play this, right?
I think
it wasn't big, was it at all? It wasn't big at all. It wasn't, you know, hundreds of thousands of people.
No.
Elder Scrolls Online was probably the team with the biggest amount of people at the start, but I don't think they ever expected to be this big. I mean, Guild Wars 1 wasn't hundreds of people. It was a dedicated team. And now when you get an MMORPG team together, you've instantly got to get
the same for me, Curry, except going all the way back to EverQuest, and then I played WoW also, and you know, I played most of the ones you can think of, right, and including the Arcade and Guild Wars 1 and 2 and WoW and Black Desert Online, and like, you know, you could just keep going on. Well, Warhammer, like I played so many I forget them, right? I had played the Warhammer Online one too, and I played Dark Age of Camelot, and I played, right, like I played most MMOs you could name probably that are, well, maybe not true. There's a lot of little tiny ones. Tried Lord of the Rings Online too. I don't think I played that one that long, but I played Warhammer Online a lot. Star Wars I didn't really do because I'm just not as much of a sci-fi Star Wars guy as I am a fantasy geek, right? I like my dragons. I like my dragons and woody outdoor areas versus you know, sci-fi stuff and buildings and laser guns and shit.
Hundreds of people, millions of funding, and you're focusing on what the science tells you to do, not what passion tells you to do. As much as I might think Mortal Online 1 and 2 made some mistakes, I can respect the fact that the developers of it went, this is what we're making. This is the game. Okay, cool. You're not aiming at me, but I respect the fact you're making it.
Yeah.
And in fact,
big agree.
There's further proof to back this up. Look at what's happened to RuneScape and WoW. The players got so sick of the kind of, you know, min-maxing of how much money can we get out with little effort put in, that they've gone back to the game that was beautiful in both graphics and story.
Yeah, classic.
They've got classic WoW, old school RuneScape, and they both look like shit. There's no...
And again, I talk about EverQuest a lot on this one, but the reason is, like, again, there's another thing here. Same thing with the Project 1999 version of EverQuest that's on my computer and that I play. And when I log in and I can see the server list, it usually has like more people than are playing on the other servers too. Because the people that are playing this game, like they are looking for that, right? And a lot of that is lost in the live version of the game that has the cash shop and all the other bullshit.
Denying that, they look awful, but.
And they tried to redo the graphics and everything else too, and a lot of people don't think that it doesn't necessarily look enough better, and then you just kind of lose that like nostalgia. It's like it wasn't long enough, right? They didn't need it yet, right? It's like maybe 10 more years from when they did it, and then they could have done a graphic overhaul that really looked good. But instead, you know, a lot of people are just like don't like the updated graphics that they tried to do.
They are incredibly fun.